Hello everyone, I am Algeline and I am back with another video lecture. Communication within a business can involve different types of employees and different functional parts of organization. So these patterns of communication are called flows. They are commonly classified according to the direction and interaction: downward, upward, horizontal, diagonal, and external. Downward or top-down communication. It happens when leaders and managers share information with lower-level employees. In other words, it is the communication from superiors to subordinates in a chain of command. This communication flow is used by the managers to transmit work-related information to the employees at lower levels. Ensuring effective downward communication isn't always easy. Differences in experience, knowledge, levels of authority, and status make it possible that the sender and recipient do not share the same assumption or understanding of context, which can result in messages being misunderstood or misinterpreted. Creating clearly worded and ambiguous communication and maintaining a respectful tone can facilitate effective downward communication. Upward communication is the transmission of information from lower levels of an organization to higher ones. The most common situation is employees communicating with managers. Managers who encourage upward communication foster cooperation, gain support, and reduce frustration among their employees. The content of such communication can include requests, estimation, proposals, complaints, appeals, reports, and any other information directed from subordinates to superiors. Upward communication is often made in response to downward communication. For instance, when employees answer a question from their manager. In this respect, upward communication is a good measure of whether an employee's downward communication is effective. Another flow of communication is horizontal communication. Horizontal communication, also called as lateral communication, which involves the flow of messages between individuals and groups on the same level of an organization, as opposed to up or down. Sharing information, solving problems, and collaborating horizontally is often more timely, direct, and efficient than up or down communication, since it occurs directly between people working in the same environment. So this communication within a team is an example of horizontal communication. Members coordinate tasks, work together, and resolve conflicts. Horizontal communication occurs formally in meetings, presentations, and formal electronic communication, and informally in other, more casual exchange within the office. Another flow of communication is the diagonal communication. So, diagonal communication is the sharing of information among different structural levels within a business. This kind of communication flow is increasingly the norm in organization, since it can maximize the efficiency of information exchange. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Diagonal communication routes at the straight lines that speed communication directly to the recipients, and the moment communication is necessary. So communication that zigzag along horizontal and vertical routes, on the other hand, are vulnerable to the schedules and availability of the individuals who reside at each level. Another type of communication flow is the external communication. It is when an organization communicates with people or organizations outside the business. Recipients of this external communication includes customers, lawmakers, suppliers, and other community stakeholders. External communication is often handled by marketing and sales. Annual reports, press releases, product promotion, financial reports are all examples of external communication. Classifications of communication by network. So as what I have stated a while ago, there are two types of communication by network. So these are the formal communication network and the informal communication network. So when we say formal communication network, it comprises of all the communication that runs along its official lines of authority. So in other words, the formal network follows reporting relationship. As you might expect when a manager sends an email to her sales team describing the new commission structure for the next set of sales target, that email is an example of downward communication. So that email is being sent along the company's formal network that connects manager to their subordinates. So another communication by network is the informal communication. So when we say informal communication, it doesn't follow authority lines and is established around the social affiliation of members of an organization, such as networks that are described as grapevine communication. So they may come into being through the humor mill, social networking, graffiti, newsletters, and spontaneous watercolor conversations. Business letters are a great way to present your message in a classic and polished style. In addition to being formal and structured, business letters are also quite personal, as the use of special requests, announcement, and more. Parts of the business letter are the heading, the inside address, the salutation, the body, the complimentary clause, and the last one is signature. So let's talk about first the heading. So in the heading, the first two lines contains the return address, or also known as the address of the sender. It has to be specific and complete, including the block number and the lot number, the borough, the barangay, the city or the municipality, and of course the provinces. Sometimes it may be necessary to include a line after the address for a contact number, an email address, or something similar. And in the last line for the heading, it contains the date when the letter is written. It is not necessary to type the return address if you are using letterhead with the return address already imprinted. Always include the date. In the inside address, this contains the name of the receiver of the letter. The correct title of the sender should be used, such as Mr. when you are referring to a male, Mrs. when you are referring to a married female, Miss unmarried female, and MS or Miss can be used when you are not certain of the material status of a woman. So addressing the receiver of the letter with a title according to his profession would be better, like for example, proof, doctor, attorney, and the like. The spelling of the name has to be carefully taken into consideration too, including the middle initial and the extension. Example, senior, junior, or the second or the third. The name should be written using all capital letters, and when encoded, it has to be set into bold. So the next line contains the receiver's position in the company. Thus, when writing letter, you should ask the correct position of the one whom you are writing a letter. In some instances, when you couldn't get an information about the complete name of the bank manager, when writing a letter of complaint, you can skip it and automatically write the position to whom you are addressing the letter. And the last part contains the name of the company in its complete address. Skip a line after the heading before the inside address. Skip another line after the inside address before greeting. In the body is written as text. You should organize the content by having an introduction, content, and conclusion. Open the body with a greeting. Next, discuss the reason why you are writing the letter. Be direct, specific, and concise. And end the body of the letter by expressing your gratitude toward the receiver of the letter. Use transition markers in paragraph development. Skip a line between paragraphs. Complementary close. This is a short, polite closing ends with a comma. With two-word complementary close, only the first only the first letter of the first word will be capitalized. Just for example, this: respectfully yours, sincerely yours, and truly yours. Skip two lines after the complementary clause and print right in a capital letters the complete name of the person writing the letter. The space provided in between is where the signature of the sender should be fixed. Use black or blue ink only, and below the name, the position of the sender should be specified. A letter for request. So what is a letter of request? So this letter is written to make someone do something or consider something. A letter requesting for an interview is an example of this. The application letter could be the most popular example of this, as the applicant is requesting a prospective employer to consider his or her job application. Letter of inquiry. So, letters of inquiry are among those regularly received by business firms. Hence, they are also called everyday letters. Such letters have to be answered promptly because they could clinch a business deal or at least build public relations for the company. So, letter of inquiry is done when something in concern of the business must be clarified or get information about, like the products or services, price list, mode of payment, mode of delivery, and etc. Letter of order. Letter of order is done when a company formally wants to avail the service or product of their partner company. In writing a letter of order, one must remember that the description of the merchandise needed to order is clearly stated. Its quantity, size, color, and other special features must be well stated as well. The schedule of shipment as to when, where, and how must also be given. Finally, the ordering company must also inform the mode of payment it will do to process the order. Letter of acknowledgement. So, letter of acknowledgement is done by the company when orders or remittances are finally received by them. For the new customers, they have to respond right away to establish a good relationship between them for the sake of future transactions. So, when writing this kind of letter, one must include the following: a very warm, polite, and welcoming part of the letter, the confirmation that the company has already received the remittance for the transaction, the OR or the official receipt, and the assurance that the expected service will be done right away. Letter of complaint or claim. This is the letter to make when, for example, the delivered products do not match the order it was made prior to the delivery. When making this letter, you must include some background information, but come quickly to the point identifying the problem. Also, politely say what you want the reader to do about the problem. Letter of adjustment. So, adjustment letter is done when there is a request for the modification of the product or to explain nothing about the delivered product. An adjustment letter should begin with a positive statement, expressing sympathy and understanding. Near the start, it should let the reader know what is being done, and this news, good or bad, should be followed by an explanation. The letter should end with another positive statement, reaffirming the company's good intentions and the value of its product, but never reaffirming the company's good intentions and the value of its product, but never referring to the original problem. Business letter style. So these are the styles in writing of business letters: the full black style, the black style, and the semi-black style. So in a full black business letter, every component of the letter, the heading, the address, the salutation, the body, and the signature, it is always aligned with the to the left. Also, the first sentence of the paragraph is not intended. In the full black style, all the entire letter is left justified and single space except for the double space between the paragraphs. So in the semi-black style, similar to the black but has a more informal appearance. All elements are left aligned except for the beginning of each paragraph, which is indented 5 spaces. Paragraphs are separated by double line space. 10 tips for writing an effective business emails. Number 1. Include a subject line with keywords. Make sure that your subject line references the main point of your email in a succinct way, such as inquiry about internship openings or marketing meeting follow-up. The keywords in the subject line in case the recipient needs to search for the email later to follow up. Second is have an appropriate greeting. If you cannot find the name of the recruiter online and must use a generic greeting, using "Dear Hiring Manager" is a safe bet. Then write concisely. No one wants to read a page-long email, so keep the body of your messages as concise as possible. Next is keep it professional. Refrain from using smiley faces and other emoticons unless you have established this type of rapport with the person on the other end. Another tips is be personable, saying "I hope you had a great weekend" or "I hope this email finds you well." Start your messages off on a positive and personable note. Establishing a congenial rapport with a person is important in case you ever need to ask for a favor down the line. Clarify the purpose. Be clear about the reason for your email, and propose direct, specific question that you would like the person to answer. If you have multiple issues you want the person to address, you can always use bullet points or paragraph breaks to ensure nothing gets missed. Say thank you. Toward the end of your email, make sure to thank the person. This is a critical step and an expectation in email correspondence. End with a call to action. Finally, remind the person about the central issue of your email by concluding with a call to action. A sample, looking back to hearing from you soon, sets up the expectation that the person must respond to you, and it should help elicit a prompt reply. Next is sign off with your contact information. Make sure to include your contact information, your service and last name, your first and your last name, your email address and phone number, so that the person can easily follow up with you. Another one is you have to proofread your work. Everyone makes spelling and grammar mistakes, so take the extra 30 seconds to double check your work and correct any errors, because it can make a big difference. If it's an important email, copy and edit it. So what is a curriculum vitae? So a curriculum vitae, or a CV, it provides a summary of your experience and skills. Typically, CV for entry-level candidates are longer than resumes, at least 2 or 3 pages. Curriculum vitae or CV for mid-level candidates who have amassed numerous publications tend to run much longer. CV includes extensive information on your academic background, including teaching experience, degrees, research, awards, publication, presentations, and other achievements. Further, CVs are thus lighter than resumes and include more and other achievements. A resume. So what is a resume? And how it differs from the curriculum vitae. So a resume, it provides a summary of your education, work history, credentials, and other accomplishments and skills. There are also optional sections including a resume, objective, and career summary statement. Resumes are the most common document requested of applicants in job application. So a resume should be as concise as possible. Typically, a resume is 1 page long, although sometimes it can be long as 2 pages.